Hey guys, SeeEl here, and today the purpose of this video is to just give some general advice and to go through some things that should help people understand how the hiring process works, and just general advice on improving your resume or improving your portfolio so that you can have better success going into higher positions or finding an initial position in esports. So this should be helpful for everyone that's stuck in a regional league for a long time. It should be helpful for players that don't really understand what they're missing. It should also be helpful for outsiders who either want to know how the esports industry hires people, or B, is just looking for a foot in the door and they don't know what else to do. Okay, so I'm going to be showing my CV today from like 8-9 months ago. I'm going to be showing you guys a rough video about how I like to look at things, for example, and some examples of some systems that I set up, and also possibly a slideshow as well that I showed at Rogue recently. I mean, I have a lot of them, but just one as an example. Okay, so we're going to start off with minimum requirements. Really simple, guys. For coaches, there is no minimum requirement. I would say it really depends on your role. Okay, if you're a positional coach, I think high rank is pretty necessary because you're going into the in-depth niche things about each movement, each trade, base, position, everything, right? So high rank is pretty necessary there. But if you are, for example, a performance coach, you just need to know how teams perform better, right? So you need to have a relevant degree like sports psychology, or you need to have relevant experience working as a performance coach somewhere or under somebody, right? And then for players, obviously, in NA, just realize that there are 10 teams, that's it. 50 players in the entire league for the academy position. If you're starting out, it's going to be really, really difficult to get a position if you're not very, very high ranked on the ladder, right? I would say top 30 and above, because a lot of these positions will be filled by veterans who are no longer high on the ladder anymore, or substitutes, or people that have been hired either due to nepotism, right? This is a reality, or who are just very good but don't really play solo queue anymore. Okay, so I would say top 20, top 30 would be the minimum requirements into getting into academy nowadays and solo queue. And it helps if you understand, or if you have some previous experience in a team environment and you have some philosophies about yourself as a player. Rank aside, for coaches, it's very important also for you to have a coaching philosophy on how you want to run things, and you need to have clear values, and you need to have set systems that you can bring to prove that you can help other people improve. Okay, proof of work always helps you guys, and I'm going to show you some of that in a moment. Second one is marketing, and we're going to go through these points first before looking at the CV and stuff like this. Second point is marketing. So marketing is important in any job. Okay, you can call this networking, you can call it whatever. If you can somehow sell yourself to the crowd, either through content, talking to people who are current professionals or high up in the ladder, if you're able to get some references, that always helps as a coach. As a player, always networking with top coaches or working your way up from lower divisions in regional leagues, for example, helps. Europe in general is a lot better of an environment to climb up through the ranks and make it, and find better environments to improve, generally because I think the requirements are lower because there are worse leagues out there, right? For example, the Balkan leagues, the Benelux leagues, and a lot of the second division leagues that don't really exist in North America, right? In North American, amateurs is considered solid, but it's not as developed, and it's not considered professional with like paying salaries like in Europe. Okay, so in Europe you can do it a multitude of ways, right? How you do it is up to you. You should understand what your strengths are. Okay, if your personality as a player does not suit content creation, then don't do that. Just be a really good player, have really solid ideologies, have a very good routine, and get yourself in a Division 2 team or a Division 3 team, whatever suits you best. And you can learn by doing, right? You can learn by experiencing what a team is like. A lot of the time you're going to get grief by bad coaches, paycheck stealers, but it shouldn't matter. your playing experience, your training experience, unless you really got the bottom end of the stick, you got very unlucky, a lot of the time it's going to be pretty good. Okay, so do it that way. Something I suggest is just DM coaches and DM players as well. Very, very easy way to get into it, especially if you're offering your time for free as a coach, or if you're just asking for general advice. I know that a lot of coaches, including myself, will respond to every DM, even though it might take some time. For example, when I first started out, I know for a fact that Peter Dunn helped me out, right? He gave me a lot of good advice, and Mac also recently gave me some advice before I joined Rogue. I know that there are just a lot of coaches out there. Okay. So marketing. Third one is just find your edge, right? What is your edge? You need to know what your strengths are as a person. For me, if I am given full control of things, I am very, very good at speaking in general. Okay. But I think my strengths, for example, lie in two areas. One is I can lead a team, right? I can be a very solid leader because I'm very, I would say, organized in the way that I like to run things, right? But I'm also very flexible. Okay, so if I'm working under someone, I have a plethora of skills that I can bring to the table that a lot of other people don't have. Okay, and you really need to understand your edge, maximize your strengths, and be able to sell it from there. Okay, and the last one is maximize your time. Guys, have a routine before you practice, before you study VODs or whatever you want to do to become a better coach or a player. Have a routine and understand what your goals are for the day. Okay, you have 50 spots in NA Academy, for example. There is no fucking way, okay, no fucking way you're gonna get there without all these. I promise you, right? It sounds like a long list of things to do. It sounds incredibly difficult. But guys, that 50 teams, okay, 50 players in NA Academy only. Do you guys realize how difficult that is to do? Right, for an entire region. Okay, very, very difficult. Excluding the finals, right? Compared to a football team and all this, it's you have to be a cut above. And the way you be a cut above is you need to market yourself, have an edge, and maximize your time. Okay, read into some performance coaching things, and have a plethora of skills that you can take to the table when you're sitting for an interview. Okay, some red flags. One red flag for me as a coach is going for a position that immediately anyone can see does not suit you. Okay, so if you are very low ranked on the ladder, for example, and you're looking to become a positional coach, I guarantee you will not get that job. I guarantee you, right? The minimum cut for a positional coach for me is Diamond 1 and above. Okay, if you are looking to become a performance coach and you don't have a relevant degree or relevant experience, you're going to have a very hard time. If immediately you can tell that you are not really good with words and not particularly inspiring, okay, as a head coach, I don't know, will you get that job? Ask yourself that question. Okay, as a player, okay, if you sell yourself as a shot caller, right, and you are not a very good shot caller, okay, and you have issues performing when you are talking too much, that's a big red flag, because it means that you don't understand yourself as a player. Okay, understand your strengths. If your strength is to bring people together and make them perform better and create a good team environment, fucking well done. Okay, sell yourself as that, right? Because you are going to get interviewed, people are going to look at your VODs. It's not just about gameplay, right? There are so many aspects to performance. So those are the main red flags for me. The other one is just lying. If you just lie about your rank, if you lie about your previous experiences or who you had contact with, this is a big red flag for me. And I'm going to show you guys my resume and to give you some examples on how you should be structuring your things. And the last one is if there's any kind of messy social media where you have said and done some questionable things. Okay, guys, I did some questionable things when I first started out in 2018, but this was 2 years before I decided to go pro. Okay, 2 years. All throughout 2019, okay, and 2020, that attitude was slowly culled to the point where there was nothing left. Okay, so before I made it to NA in 2021, initially, I made sure that my behavior and my social media and everything was squeaky clean, right? So even if problems arose from the past, I can just cleanly admit them, and I can fix these issues, and I can address them, and I can accept them. Okay, if you are continuing to behave in a bad way and do bad things, big red flag, guys, because it just means you're going to create problems for your organization. All right, and last red flag for me is just, I think, trust. If you show that you're not trustworthy, right, because you are just unable to be open, right, with the people that you work with, even if you get your initial job, you're going to have a fucking hard time moving up. Okay, so if you've done that in the past and you're stuck in your current position, be open to accept that and talk about it, and talk about the steps that you've made to not do that anymore, and really just move up from that initial fuck up point. Okay, so for example, for me, I'm a very straightforward and open person, right? Almost to the point where I can be toxic. If I have a problem with Simon, I'll go and tell him there's a problem, however uncomfortable there is. And it drives him mad sometimes, because the way I say it can be not in the best way, right? But I'm open and they can trust me because of that. So I can be a total douche, but if they know my intentions and I'm very clear on how to solve these problems, then they know that my goal is to better the team, and this is really what you need. If you're snagging around and you're being a dick, then don't expect to get another job in another team, because word travels fast. Okay. Another example is, I have some issues in my personal life. Okay, I'm very open with that. Everything. Okay, so wherever I go, whatever problems there are, okay, I'll do everything in my power to solve these problems, to address these problems. And if I feel like something is lacking, however much of a problem I have with people, I will tell them. Right? This is exactly what I did in Golden Guardians as well. So I think that covers it. I'm going to go into some examples. Okay, so I've just removed the phone number and email and whatever you need below this. Okay, but normally you would put your details here, your contact details, Discord, Twitter, phone number, whatever's necessary, and then start off your CV with a personal statement. Okay, this is actually surprisingly important for players as well. Not later down the line, right? Your play is the most important thing, but initially this actually matters a lot. Okay, so for me, I talk about what my strengths are, what I'm looking for, and what I'm looking to do. Okay, I'm an ambitious professional with a diverse skill set in leadership, entrepreneurship, performance, and strategic coaching, with a strong emphasis on player development and systems-based coaching. Blah blah blah. When I say this, I need everything else below to reflect what I'm saying in my personal statement. I also need proof of work, okay, and I also need other things, right? For example, proof or examples of management. Okay. So let's look at my coaching experience. GM and head coach, just talk about your placing, talk about what you do. Something that makes me unique is I did a lot of payslip accounting, timetabling, scrim planning, stuff that are standard HR, because I was also the GM, right? Food budget, allocating things, paying for things, everything, okay? Drafting, strategy, and individual player development, same shit, guys, same shit, okay? If you are, doing something specific that can help you sell this and show that you have a consistency in the way that you look at things, or have an edge that you think other people don't do, for example, player development, stress that in your resume, okay? Don't give me this shit where you pull up your CV and then the only thing that it says that's useful is, oh, I came second and I talked to people or some shit. I mean, like, you need to be very specific, and you need to talk about the roles that you placed and how that will carry on to your current job, right? Because that's the purpose of a CV. The purpose of your CV is to show how you can do your job really well, better than other people, based on your past experiences. Same for everything here. Talk about specific things like visa issues, worked remotely, so you're capable of working remotely, right? But once again, spreadsheet work, player development, right? Spreadsheet work, player development. Here as well, okay? This needs to be edited, right? You know, standard head coach responsibilities. What do you do? You know, what placings have you gotten? The important thing is after this, okay? After this, what other relevant experience have you got? If you are a professional coach, right? Or if you haven't been a professional coach before, and let's just say the only part of your resume is this, okay? Then it obviously helps if you have relevant experience or you're studying something that can help you in this space. Okay, so for me, I interned in a Wall Street company, for a fintech company. I did their social media. I also did, this is no longer valid, so I'll have to remove this, but because their site is down. But you know, I talk about how I also did customer support, and I learned things like risk management. Okay, private League of Legends coach. Who are the type of people that you coached? Well, in the past, you know, I've coached Mark Merrill, you know, some investors, you know, some pretty famous people. I also coached multiple people to rank 1 in multiple regions in the West. I worked as a translator and player manager. I mean, this is all telling a story, right, guys? This shows me that I'm able to timetable, that I'm organized, that I can budget, that I have skills that in management, and I understand the importance of the books, which can be incredibly helpful if you're hiring people and you're hiring players, and a budget is in the talks, right? Right? How can you get relevant, the best possible players with your current budget? Well, this kind of stuff helps. It shows that I can, you know, develop weaker players, right? And if you look here, it shows that I can develop players from scratch, right? Once again, and here, Korean and English, okay? Okay, I can work in, you know, I can work in a bilingual environment, okay? Everything just telling the same story, okay? I'm an ambitious professional. I am bilingual. I am able to work in a flexible environment with multiple skills in both player development, data, and HR, okay? Things like accounting. And then obviously just some creative things, right? So I'm very good at presenting things because I have a startup, okay, that I'm working on to this day, by the way. And what have I studied in the past? Oh, I was an economics and finance student. How is this helpful? Well, once again, right? HR, accounting, whatever. I mean, just make sure that when you are doing something relevant, right, to your previous degree, you add it here, but it's organized so that it shows that you're not adding random relevant experience. What I don't want to see, I was a sandwich artist at Subway. How the fuck does that help you as a player? I mean, if you can somehow sell it, and you are a genius at, you know, speaking, and you can say, I learned key team skills while I was at Subway, fucking good for you, okay? But if you don't know how to do that, keep it out. Keep it out. And if you don't have relevant experience, now you know what to work on, right? Where else can you get it? Amateur teams also count, guys. If you work for a collegiate team, if you work in an amateur team, it all helps. And then obviously, transferable skills. This just sums up everything I talked about before, right? I'm native bilingual. I'm solid at using data to present information, right, to my players. I have solid time management because I have experience with risk management, and based on my studies and my internship. And I'm able to accept mistakes because, I mean, I just wrote that because it sounds good, right? And then the rest is just, you know, your references. So that's it. That's it for the coach resume, okay? Really simple stuff. Just make sure that you are telling a story about yourself. Make sure that it is consistent, okay? For me, I know that my skills don't lie in being an assistant, Okay, that's not my strengths, right? But what I can say is that I'm flexible enough to bring value to any kind of environment. And although it is not my strengths, right, or the strongest part of me as a coach, I'm able to mold into any environment and make it better. Right? And that's really what I want to sell if I'm going for an assistant coach position. And I think that's one of the reasons why I got hired at Rogue. Okay. So presentations, proof of work always helps. I'm not going to show too many things that are relevant to this day and age because we need to obviously maintain our edge, right? But have some examples that show that you understand the game, right? So for example, do you know how to open 2 lanes versus 3 lanes? Really fucking simple stuff, guys. If you don't know the answer to this question and you want to be an assistant coach or a head coach or a positional coach, good luck. Okay, good luck. This is the bare minimum, guys. Okay, so you want to prevent map imbalance. Basically, that's the idea. It's all about tempo. You know, do you have control on the map? Are you first on the map? Okay, retaking. Okay, and just show that you're able to create, you know, beautiful presentations, that you're able to deliver information well, and show some examples, right? So if you open 3 lanes, for example, and your jungler is hovering one side, right? If they have tempo on the map, if you have tempo on the map, you'll push out 3 lanes, and the enemy can do 2 things. They can open out through 2 lanes, or they can just collect, right? But if they collect 3 lanes, it can be an issue because then you will shift. Okay, so talking about these kind of things, right? And I can do this how? Well, I first highlight the fact that we are pushing 3 lanes because we're first on the map. Enemy team is second. Jungler is hovering one side. And we are looking to shift into 2 lanes. Well, why? Because we want to contest an objective, for example, right? So have really solid proofs of works that displays an understanding of general macro concepts. Okay, if they answer 3 lanes, well, you have multiple options. Okay, now this top lane is pushed, you will have a map imbalance. Okay, they will have to answer top wave. You can shift them to bot and dive this. You can take dragon, you can take control here, you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? Well, what's important? We're taking control here. And what else is important? Well, just be wary that, you know, they can also open on 2 lanes, which is what they should do. Second on map, for example. And you're contesting these areas because you should have control first. And they're playing into your control and they're playing to retake. You're playing to hold control and they're playing to retake. Okay, so for example, just have solid fucking presentations, guys. You know, talk about your map imbalances, right? Talk about how you want to open up and how you want to deal with these situations. What are some things that you need to do? I'm not going to go into detail, right? This is just an example of a game, right? I mean, you guys can see, I'm not going to explain everything clearly, but you guys can see that, you know, there is structure, okay, and there is a thought process and how things work. Okay, so for example, if you're opening on 3 lanes on the map, okay, and there are no tier 1s, then should the side without a jungler be pushing? You need to be able to explain these things, right? And then obviously just some basic meta stuff, right? This is from a couple patches ago, so it's not that relevant, but I have one of these for almost every week, or multitude of these. When I was in Vitality, I was doing 2 to 3 a week. Okay, so if you don't have this, well, good luck to you again. Okay, good luck to you again. So really, I mean, I can go over these games. This is just another example, right? So say we shift into 2, and then we shift from a mid to bot, playing through mid into bot, because we are first, and we want to dive bot. Well, what's important? Well, Renata flashes up in 4, so we need to go fast here, right? This is the game yesterday, right? Well, what went wrong? Well, we missed an opportunity previous, which I'm not going to talk about because I want to make this short. But we also didn't identify that they have sums, so we need to go fast. Ashe is tanking. Ashe presses W. Now Pantheon just goes fast. Flash W into WE and Talia. Renata's one shot. Okay, but if we go slow, Ashe is tanking. Ashe drops aggro. She'll flash the Pantheon W. Now we're just in an awkward position to DPS, right? And this all happened, why? Because we think that her flash is up, so make systems relevant to that, right? So I have an entire presentation that talks about, for example, how to communicate, right? How to talk in the game. Do I think that this is necessary for every team, or do I think that this is the best way to teach the game? Of course not. I think that a higher level team shouldn't have this communication issue because they should understand and they should see relevant angles in the game, relative to their position, and they're able to be more flexible, more dynamic, and they will be better as a team. But when you're starting out, this kind of structure helps immensely. It also helps players identify, certain map states in the game, right? And same goes for, academy team, right? It's even more important in an academy team. Well, as a player, what can you work on? Well, first of all, you need to add some structure to yourself as well, right? As I said, in coaches, it's really, really important to have structure in the way that you think, because if you don't have structure, it's very, very fucking hard to learn. Okay, very, very hard to learn. If you do have structure, then think about what you're missing, right? As a player, is it just mechanical? Then push your limits inside the games. Get into a decent team, push limits. Is it the way that you behave in a team environment? Then read some books. Okay. So I hope this helped. A lot I'm missing, but I'm just trying to give a general idea on how to get into the industry, what you're looking at, what you're looking for, and just giving you some examples on how a CV and how a presentation should look. Okay. So if you want more of this stuff in the future, please, write some comments down below, share the video, do whatever you find is helpful, and also, feel free to write your opinions down below. Okay, good. Bye, guys. Oh, one more thing. I'm someone that has been on public, recorded in a podcast, saying that I think 95% of coaches will be replaced by ex-pros. There's a reason I believe this, okay? Because I think that professionals just have a generally better understanding of the game. They have experience playing on stage, and most importantly, they have gone through and probably have worked with a coach in the past, which means, or a better coach in the past, which means they can take what they thought was useful and bring it into their own coaching game, which is a huge advantage, right? How do I learn the game and what this kind of stuff? If you don't know how to learn the game as a professional or an aspiring professional, that is not something that I should have to explain to you. Okay? That is not something I should have to explain to you. Anyway, bye guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.